I'm down on Kaikoura on the east coast of the South Island of New Zealand, an area known as being a stop for migrating whales. For a variety of reasons, I need to minimize pricey activities, so today's goal, find what I can do that is super cool and free. So today I'm going to walk around the Kaikoura Peninsula, which is about a 3-hour walk. Now, I've wanted to see the South Island of New Zealand since I arrived here almost 8 years ago, but I have faced obstacle after obstacle.
And I'm sad it took me so long to do it. I just feel like I'm fulfilling a stereotype.
First, I came here with only an internship salary between 2 people. Then I was using all my vacation to fly home. COVID hit, I became a caretaker in a medical emergency for 8 months, and now I've simply been unemployed for too long to afford it.
It just became about money and career for so long and not about joy in life.
So when my bestie from Germany offered to pay for all the gas and my lodging if I lent her my car for free, I was stoked. Good morning. Welcome to the beginning of my South Island trip, where I am going to be taking about 3 weeks going around the South Island of New Zealand, and today I'm waking up in Kaikoura. The plan is to start the trip on the northeast coast, make our way down to the middle of the island, down to the southeast, across the bottom, and then up the west coast. A full loop. It's absolutely gorgeous behind me. So Kaikoura is the spot that most people go if they want to do some whale watching, because humpback whales actually come through here on their way up to Tonga. A brief Google of Kaikoura showed me there are a few common activities to take part in. A whale watching tour for about $160, too expensive. The Kaikoura Museum for $12, could do, but I really want to be outside. Or I could do any number of adventure activities, kayaking, 4-wheel driving, fishing, etc. But again, too expensive. So today I'm going to walk around the Kaikoura Peninsula, which is about a 3-hour walk that actually ends in town, which, by the way, Kaikoura is way more built up than I imagined. It's a tourist hotspot for sure. Anyways, it'll take about 3 hours, and along the way, I'm pretty stoked that there apparently is a seal colony, which I love seals because I kind of feel like they're the dogs of the sea. I like to sit and watch them. They kind of remind me of Pivo, who I really miss right now. And yeah, this will be fun. The thing about doing something unplanned and on the fly is that you really don't know how it's going to turn out.
I don't like this.
Today could just be a lovely walk, seeing the beach, seeing seals, wildlife, etc. Or I could end up seeing something really, really cool.
So I just ran across this historic house behind me and just did some bit of Googling. So apparently whaling was brought to New Zealand around 1792, and they started settling in this area and doing whaling from their ships that they would have at sea. And the guy who owned this house, Robert Fife, or Fief, I don't know how you say it. So he owned the first shore-based whaling station that would basically go out a little bit to shore and then bring the whales back here, where they would process them for their blubber, I guess, which they would use to light lamps and also for lubricants. Anyways, this house, the Fife house, was built for his cooper, which I just Googled is someone who makes barrels which would store the oil. And apparently it was actually built on top of the bones of the whales. So the whale that they were hunting here is the southern right whale, which almost became extinct in 1850s. So they actually basically ran out of business because there wasn't enough whales left. And good news now is that they are repopulating. So yeah, that's awesome.
In fact, this entire trail was completely dedicated to giving the history of the whaling industry, and along my walk, I learned heaps.
I can already tell that this walk is going to be totally worth it because I have walked a few hundred feet and seen the most beautiful flower, and there's a seal off to my port side here, just sleeping, lounging.
While the joy of the unknown is certainly one of my biggest motivators, there's also something else happening here. You see, I've been studying YouTube and trying to figure out how I can grow as much as possible. And if you watched my last video, you'll know that I've been searching for a big goal.
You'll know that I want to walk the Te Araroa Trail, which goes from the north of New Zealand all the way down to the tip of the South Island, 3,000 kilometers over the course of 4 months.
So I am walking this trail right now to see how far I can go, to see if walking Te Araroa is even possible for me.
And it's interesting walking this walk so far because it's a lot of like active navigation where I need to like watch every single step. And I imagine on the trail that doing that for 4 months straight would be exhausting. So I hope that some of the terrain, like I don't have to pay attention as much. But here, like you're having to step across rocks and make sure you don't slip on the mud, and there's like puddles everywhere. And it's quite an active walk so far anyway.
Now, I won't ruin it for you if you haven't watched the last episode, but basically this does not turn out how I wanted it.
So I'm just walking along and there's this giant car park over here, which I guess is the start of the actual official trail because I was walking on the road up until now. And I was like, why is there a group of people standing by the water? So I got a little bit close. I'm not super close right now. And I can see that there's a bunch of seals laying on the rocks and there's people surrounding the rocks that have the seals on them. Let me just start out with, anyone who spent a lot of time in nature knows that you're supposed to leave wildlife alone and not get close to them because it can scare them sometimes and it can also make them less wild and less able to survive as a result. It's funny because just a few hundred feet away from where all the people are, there's hundreds of seals over here, whereas over there, there's one seal that everyone's bothering. I'm just like, partly like, why is the seal staying over here? It's fenced, he could get some peace. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe he likes the attention. But just judging by the way he reacted to one lady getting really close, I'm guessing that's not the case. So please don't go bother any of the seals. Hope there's no misinterpretation here. Don't get near the seals. Otherwise, you might seal your fate. So I won't provide you guys a bunch of details about seals because I did that in the Gisborne episode where I did some winter camping. But one thing I will say is I read a book called Sharkman by Riley Elliott, and he actually lives here in New Zealand out in Coromandel, and he's a shark scientist. Anyways, he said that apparently seals swim faster than sharks. So if a shark knows that a seal sees it, it's less likely to attack because it will just basically won't be able to catch the seal. And oftentimes seals can be found taunting sharks, basically being like, hey, I see you, and like swimming around them. And the sharks can't attack too many times because they run out of energy real fast and can actually kill themselves by burning too much energy. So seals taunt the sharks and there's not much sharks can do about it, which I just think is a little funny when you see nature doing behaviors that we think are human, but in many ways are endemic to any species.
Once I passed the site where the seals were, it was like everyone disappeared. There I was, living in my fairy tale world, where I got to experience everything without crowds, when this happened.
So I have just come upon a breeding ground for, I'm guessing it's seagulls here, and to get around them, I'm gonna have to go right through where the babies are, which I know I shouldn't do. But I also know that high tide is coming soon, and if I go back the other way, it could actually be dangerous for my life. So I'm wondering what you guys would have done about this. I did look at the map in advance, and this is not on the map, so it's not something I could have known in advance. But yeah, I'm curious to hear what you would do about it. It just sucks because it's like, it's only a small spot that they're here, but I just don't want to, that's just not fair. They were here first. I kind of feel like the Maori, there's like a saying or a belief, Kaitanga, I might be wrong in how I'm saying that, but it means basically like we are guardians of nature and we have a responsibility to protect it. And I really love that about Maori culture, because I wholeheartedly embrace that we're here to protect it. Good news, apparently there's a path going straight up, so I will not have to walk all the way back, and that way I can get into town still. Yay! So I'm really glad that I turned around because I'm up here at the top of the mountain now, and there's a little info thing about seagulls, and it basically said that the strongest of the seagulls tend to lay their eggs in the middle of the colony because that's where there's the least amount of wind, best protection from storms, and also predators will eat the birds at the edge of the colony. And apparently when people go tramping through these colonies, what happens is the birds all go into mayhem and they stop protecting their young, and that's when you're most likely to have your young taken.
I was both disappointed and relieved to leave the coast. You see, there's something special about being near water, but I was about ready to enter a whole new terrain, and I was super stoked about what I might see.
It's little things like this that make New Zealand, New Zealand, because I'm walking through this pasture where there's cows, that's where the trail goes, and then in order for you to be able to read about what's going on in this area and understand, they have to gate in the seating area so that the cows don't, supposedly hurt you or destroy the sign. But I just think it's just so Kiwi.
Despite the beauty all around me, I was super stoked after 3 hours of walking to see the town ahead of me, and I was also really excited to meet up with my friends.
Alright, so I have to make a correction to a past video that I made about Christmas in New Zealand. I said that Pūtakawa only blossom or are on the north coast or North Island, but I'm actually walking along here and there's beautiful bright red Pūtakawa that are clearly in blossom right now, and it's kind of cool to see.
So it turns out I was actually right the first time. Pūtakawa do not live south of Gisborne or New Plymouth, so these are actually called the Southern Rata, which is in the same genus as Pūtakawa. A few identifying characteristics are the pointy leaves on Rata, whereas Pūtakawa have rounder leaves, and also a tighter branch structure compared to a more sprawling Pūtakawa. Pūtakawa also grow taller.
Alright, Banana, welcome to the Audacious Path TV show. Are you excited to be here?
Oh yeah, sure.
Are you a little worried?
Yes.
A little scared?
Everything of all.
The only thing you have to worry about is my dad jokes. And this is, introduce yourself, Maru. Yes. And who is this little one? Marius. Yes. Marius. Marius, hey. Hi. Where are we headed tomorrow?
We head to Lake Tekapo. There will be many sandflies. We will be at the water, and it's about 5 hours from here. We are in Kaikoura right now.
I love how you give the highlights. You're like, sandflies, that's what we're gonna go see. And just like to clarify that people do not go to Lake Tekapo to see the sandflies. They typically go there for the views. That's just a German thing. All Germans do that apparently, so yeah. Hi. Hello.
Mana mana.
Mana mana. So, Bren and I were reflecting on how when we were living in eastern Ukraine together, we lived right east of Donetsk, and they would have these random festivals where you'd show up and you'd have no idea what was going on because everything was in Russian. But you'd sit there and you'd feel like you're participating and you feel like you're seeing the local culture even though you had no idea what was going on. And this kind of feels exactly like that, doesn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. A little bit far away. Some people are speaking. Someone's singing.
Yeah. We can't really hear them, but we're doing something local. So.
This was written the first time I had COVID and picks up the dust and crumbs and fluff. It's rather like a ball.
So it's the end of the day, it's time to go to sleep. My legs are super achy from that long walk, and I'm really excited about tomorrow because we're headed to Lake Tekapo, which apparently you can see more stars there than anywhere else in New Zealand, which I'm just, honestly, I just love stars. Being at sea, oh, anyway. I am so glad I am doing this trip. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I feel like I have been here for 7 years and it's crazy that I have not really seen the South Island and I waited too long. And it just makes me think of like that stereotype in America where you live in a state and you never see it. And I guess kind of the thing that I'd like to say to me, Pastaniella, and anyone else who's experiencing the same thing that Pastaniella experienced is, you know, people tell you that you gotta work towards your career, you gotta make practical spending decisions, you gotta do all these things which are supposed to help you get on with life, but sometimes you have to choose fun. You have to choose life, you have to choose fun. And I'm really glad that I'm finally doing it, and I'm really glad that you guys are here for the journey. So I hope you enjoy the rest of this trip.